Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. And as we do that, we are going to be really speaking life into our own internal monologue and changing the way that we act. As we change the way that we interface with this world because of our new and enhanced self-image, new opportunities are going to be opening up for us. And so I'm really excited for that. So a very, very good morning to Lauren and Daniel and Frank. Good morning, Amanda and Grant and Brenda Jean and Jeffrey. It is good to see you guys here. Let's come together for the purposes of co-creation as we work together on these words. So anyway, you guys have all been here before. You know how this works. I'm going to pull a card. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on that card. We're going to say together out loud, I am that affirmation. As we do that, we are really speaking life into ourselves, and I am excited to do it. We are taking control over our internal monologue. Good morning, Shauna. See you popped on as well. Hugs and kisses to you too. It was great seeing you over the weekend. All right, so I'm pull a card and let's have some fun today by saying that today I am free. I am free. I release attachment and embrace possibility. So I am free. I release attachment and embrace possibility. Are you free? You are free. You release attachment and embrace possibility. I'm going to write that down in the comments. I'm going to say, I am free. I release attachment and embrace possibility. Indeed, we are free. We are free indeed. I'm glad that y'all love this one. I love this one too. I picked that iconic picture of the dandelion seeds just flying off in the wind, because that's really how it is. They release attachment to something that had grounded them so that they can embrace the possibility of landing in a sunnier place and ultimately having their own, their being a part of their own plant. So we are free people. We release attachment. We embrace possibility. In order for us to embrace that possibility, we have to release attachment. And attachment can be very hard to release because a lot of times the attachment is to something that we've believed for a very, very, very long time. So we are free people. And we have to understand that as we go through life, people are going to give us ideas. And especially when we're younger, we have to rely on people who are older than us to teach us how life is. There's some, there's some psychology work that shows in early childhood education where children learn best from other children who are like 2 years ahead of them on the learning curve. So, like a first grader can learn really well from a third grader, but not so much from a fourth or a fifth grader, because a fourth or a fifth grader, they find the first grader insufferable. And the first grader, they can't really identify with what the fourth or fifth grader is going through, but they can absolutely understand what the third grader is going through. And then the third grader is around about at the same level of development that they can communicate with a first grader and have it be okay. And so as we go through life, we don't even realize just how profound of an impact this has on us as we learn things from our peers. And our peers oftentimes are just a little bit ahead of us, but they have their own neurosis. They have their own issues that are going on. I remember, one of the biggest things I ever had to release attachment to was a career that my mom and dad had given me. So I started working when I was 11 years old. And I was homeschooled, so this was not this wasn't really a hardship. But, I was working in the family business. And I was really grateful to work in the family business. And it taught me a ton. And there's skills that I have fallen back on time and time again. And so I'm incredibly grateful for it. But at the same time, it never made me happy. It never really lit me up. The family business was running machines in a machine shop. And I love to make my own stuff on machines. I love to, have my own projects. It's wonderful that I know how to operate a lathe or a milling machine or, wire EDM or all the various stuff that I know how to operate. It's great that I have that foundation in practical mathematics that allows me to quickly do math in my head or, to understand how math can be applied. But I had to release the attachment to that career. I had to release the attachment in order to embrace what I really enjoy doing a lot more. So for, many of you know that for years I lived in Central America, and I certainly couldn't be a machinist in Central America. I had to try my hand at many, many different things. And when I came back to the United States, of course, being a machinist again was a possibility. And I decided that I wasn't going to put myself in a place where I could say yes to that possibility, because it was something in my past. And that even though I appreciated, that I appreciated it, I still was, I still thought that I was overdoing that. And so one of the reasons that I ended up in Maui was because there were no machine shops there. There was really no ability for me to pursue that career. I had to do something else, and I had to do something different that I wanted to do. And that's how I really discovered the hospitality industry, and doing sales and marketing and things like that, things that I really, really do enjoy. And so but I had to release the one thing in order to say yes to the other. And when I look back at it, releasing the first thing was incredibly beneficial for me, because I got to, I got to really drill down into who I am, and I got to explore other parts of myself that had been long dormant, and that I felt like I wasn't really able to adequately explore because I was way too busy doing something that I didn't fully enjoy. So why I'm free, we are free people. Frank says, I'm finding that releasing my ego has been the greatest challenge and still working on it. Yeah, that's a fact. When we think about the ego, at least as Freud talked about the ego, the ego is our conscious, our conscious awareness of who we are, and our conscious awareness of the history of who we are. Because we're not just who we are in this moment. We are also who we have been in the past. And even though the past is not very relevant, it absolutely has shaped us as we are today, because the things that we've succeeded at, or the things that we've failed at in the past, they define how we see ourselves now. And Frank brings up a fantastic point, that we have to release that. We need to we need to release that that idea of who we are, so that we can embrace who we can be. And isn't that what life is about? Isn't that what we do? We release who we are so that we can cling to who we are becoming, so that we can become something better. All of us want to be the best versions of ourselves. All of us have things that we're working on. All of us have ways that we fall short, and we know it. And so in our lives, it's just so important for us to release these judgments of ourselves, so that we can become, so we can embrace who we truly are. I am, one of my personal spiritual beliefs is that we're never really finished. That the day that we're done developing as a human being is the day that we die. So why on earth would we want to hurry that up? It's so important to just be involved in the process, to recognize that we are always becoming something better. We're always becoming something different, that our experiences today are something that we build on, and that when we release the attachment to who we were, we get to become who we are. So really appreciate you guys for coming on out and being free with us today. Thank you so much for, just for affirming this with me. What's up there, Val's, by the way? You are over there on Twitch. I don't get too many folks here on Twitch very often. Good morning there, Kelly. Good to see you this morning. So this card is inviting us to release some attachments. Perhaps we can release attachments to who we were. Perhaps we can look and say, hey, there's a way that I was being in the past that I don't actually like, and I'm going to release my attachment to that. Perhaps it's relationships that we're like, you know what, that one doesn't actually serve me anymore. And so I think it's time to it's time to release the attachment to that. And and thoughts from Michael, neck surgery today. So you guys, some of you know Michael personally, some of you do not, but Michael was involved in a motorcycle wreck that basically you want to talk about releasing attachment to who we were. So let me talk about Michael for just a moment, and Kelly as well. So Michael and Kelly were involved in a motorcycle wreck, and essentially what happened was that Michael reverted to being an infant his body recovered in, very, very well, but but his mind was essentially a blank slate. He had to learn counting. He had to learn talking. He had to learn all these things that, it's basically like the wreck just completely emptied his mind out. And the people who knew him before, and the people, realized that as he grew and developed again, because it happened very, very rapidly. I mean, I personally watched him go from being like maybe a mental age of like 6 or 7 to being a mental age of, in his like early 20s in the period of months. I watched that happen, and I watched that growth and development. And what happened was that he became a completely different person than he was before, because he had all those attachments forcibly released. They were released through a traumatic brain injury. And so it's really interesting to watch. Definitely one of my favorite people to watch him grow and develop, because he was growing and developing so rapidly, but he was doing it with different inputs than the ones that he had when he was a small child. He was now surrounded by emotionally mature adults, and he was able to come to different conclusions than the ones that he had come to previously. So thank you, Kelly, for reminding me of that. That story is a very, very important one about how we can release attachment and embrace possibility. Michael had the attachments released for him, but nevertheless, the attachments went away. And then he was able to embrace the possibility of who he can become now that all the old thoughts have gone away, all that old programming that all of us are subject to. So I think I'm going a little bit long on this one, but I want to say thank you guys so much. Shauna, you want a physical card? And yes, I will be printing out physical versions of these and a whole bunch of other ones. Some of you guys are aware that I have printed versions of these affirmation decks. If you'd like one of these, you can absolutely contact me, and I will be happy to get you one. But Shauna, I'll let you know when this card becomes a physical version, and once that happens, I'll make sure that you get it. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for all the amazingness that you have brought to the chat today, and I really appreciate all of you. I love you and care about you. So to Lauren and Daniel, to Frank and Amanda and Grant, Brenda, Jean, Jeff, Shauna, to let's see here. Let's see. I know Lauren has shown up, and to April, and to Valves, by the way, or BTW, and Kelly, and to Donna. It is really good to see you guys here today. It does feel like it's a gathering of my tribe of people who are on the same wavelength as me. Let's go out. Let's release attachment. Let's embrace possibility, and let us all go forth and be free. Until we meet again at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning with another card, I just want to remind you that I love you, and that I care about you, and that we are all in this together. Aloha from paradise.